Live every day as if it were the last, because before you know it, time goes past and life's just not that long. Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone. Taste the wind, don't let it blow on by. Sing songs of love, let the music get you high.
I would be ashamed as hell to watch the Super Bowl or any football game. I would be ashamed as hell to enjoy watching men brutally injure each other's knees, shoulders, elbows, necks, brains. Many former football players suffer from concussions, causing severe headaches, Alzheimer's, depression. Many former football players suffer from concussions causing alcoholism, other drug addiction, causing violence toward family and friends, even their own suicide. The donated brains of 110 out of 111 dead former NFL players had serious brain disease. 110 out of 111 former NFL football players, after they died, their donated brains showed serious brain disease. Is encouraging boys and men to play football less harmful than addicting them to booze or cigarettes or heroin or cocaine? Instead of cars and violent sports, I enjoy lots of exercise, lots of walking. Instead of television and video games, I enjoy reading and gardening and sunbathing. Instead of junk food, computers, and smartphones, I enjoy meeting people face to face, deep conversations, dancing, eating only healthy food. Too much sitting is as bad as smoking cigarettes for our health. The only material possession we each have from birth to death is our body, the only body we can ever have. No other material possession can give us more misery or more pleasure. I aim for healthy pleasure. Why suffer? Often when two men get into a physical fight, one or both men are sexually attracted to the other, but they cover their attraction by hitting the body they're attracted to. And sometimes one or both men who get into a physical fight and who are attracted to the other man's body can't even admit that to themselves. It is too scary for their image as a straight man. In the 1800s, a white U.S. Army officer who studied Indian customs closely reported on brothers by adoption. Speaking of Arapaho male pairs, this white U.S. Army officer in the 1800s said, "They really seem to fall in love with men. And I have known this affectionate interest to live for years. The union of two men was often publicly recognized in a friendship dance that they would do together." White frontiersmen even reported being sexually approached by Indian warriors. This expression was in public and had no impact on the attitudes of other Indians toward these warriors. One evil excuse the European invaders used to justify their mass murder of Native Americans was how common sex between men was in some Native American tribes. Most African Americans who have ancestors in this country have white ancestors as well as blacks. DNA testing now shows the mixed ancestry of many of us of all colors. Thomas Jefferson's wife died when he was 39, and on her deathbed, she urged him not to remarry. Well, Thomas Jefferson never did officially remarry, but after his wife's death, he had 7 children by his very beautiful black enslaved person, Sally Hemings. She was pregnant with their first child when she was 16 years old. In Jefferson's will, he said his slaves should be set free when he died. I wonder, did any of them know that was in his will before he died? I wonder how did Sally Hemings and their 7 children feel about Thomas Jefferson's buying, selling, controlling the lives of hundreds of black enslaved people, robbing them of their sweat, their work, their freedom, their human rights, their lives. Did Jefferson finally see before he died that Sally Hemings and their 7 children were full human beings, no less than he? Did Thomas Jefferson ever regret and publicly apologize for enslaving hundreds of black people to make himself rich? I voted for Biden mainly to get rid of Trump. I compliment some of Biden's actions as president. I compliment Biden's strong message condemning the 1921 white supremacy massacre of black people in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I compliment Biden's making Juneteenth a national holiday in honor of the last enslaved black people in the United States who found out they were free, no longer bought, sold, owned by white people. I compliment Biden and his wife Jill for their strong stand in support of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans people. I compliment Biden for making the Orlando, Florida gay nightclub, The Pulse, a national monument where 49 people were murdered in 2016. I damn Biden's locking up many thousands of asylum seekers from other nations. I damn Biden's military strikes against Syria, against Iraq, and against any other nation in the future. I damn Biden's support for the U.S.'s massive spending for war and nuclear bombs. The United States spends more for war than any other nation on earth. In fact, as much as the next 9 nations combined. This is a crime against humanity of epic proportions. I damn Biden's support for any war of the United States. And sadly, many Democrat politicians are better, well, not sadly, very, I stepped in too soon on that. Many Democrat politicians are better than many Republican politicians on some things. On civil rights for people not white, many Democrat politicians are better than many Republican politicians for equal rights for women and for lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans people. Many Democrat politicians are better than many Republican politicians for some environmental concerns and for voting rights and for freedom of speech. But sadly, many Democrat politicians are just as addicted to U.S. wars, to nuclear bombs, to the U.S. empire stealing the resources and cheap labor of smaller nations as many Republican politicians are, sometimes even worse. Remember the Democrat President Harry Truman, the only world leader in human history to atom bomb whole cities of human beings. He celebrated, Harry Truman celebrated the mass murder of many thousands of women and children in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Truman said, "Don't ever apologize for anything." Talk about evil words. Horrific. Don't ever apologize for anything. Remember Democrat President Woodrow Wilson, who supported the Ku Klux Klan. He supported white supremacy, and he was open about it. And Woodrow Wilson took the United States into World War I. Remember Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who welcomed the Japanese bombing of the U.S. Pearl Harbor. I guess he even admitted this in his memoirs, because he wanted an excuse to give to the people of this country to start the war against Japan. Franklin Delano Roosevelt called the bloody dictator Somoza in Nicaragua, he's a son of a bitch, but he is our son of a bitch. In other words, as long as a cruel, bloody dictator in another country is friendly to U.S. corporations, U.S. greed, then excuse him for murdering his own people, torturing his own people, denying them human rights. Horrible, horrible. Remember Bill Clinton, who killed 500,000 Iraqi children with sanctions, U.S. sanctions against Iraq, depriving them of the nutrition they needed to live. Remember Bill Clinton, who bombed Iraq to get U.S. attention off his affair with Monica Lewinsky and his lies to cover up that affair. Remember Barack Obama, who killed thousands of people abroad with drones. These Democrat presidents shed rivers of blood of our sisters and brothers in other nations. And many Democrat politicians seem afraid U.S. voters will consider them soft and weak because of their progressive stands on some issues like women's rights, LGBTQ rights, some environmental rights, freedom of speech within the United States. So they have to prove, they think, that they can steal and murder in U.S. wars as much as any Republican politician. This is sad and it's evil. Good quality natural supplements of vitamins and minerals can help some people, but even the best supplements are never a substitute for eating only healthy, raw, whole plant foods. No factory fake foods. Cutting out all the junk food crap, cutting out all the sodas and the booze, cutting out all packaged, canned, and bottled fake factory crap containing added sugar, processed vegetable oils, artificial sweetener, chemicals, is far more important than any natural supplement, even the best in any natural food store. We got to get rid of the crap in order to really get healthy and put only healthy food into our bodies and exercise enough and get enough good sleep and forgive other people and apologize and have close friendships and enjoy nature. Many things which are so important to be healthy, to enjoy life until the day we die. Would a car owner put diesel fuel and dirt into the tank of his gasoline car and expect it to run? If we eat the shit most people in this country eat, and the factories turn out, and the advertising continually blasts people to want and eat, why should we be surprised when we get the awful diseases that many people have? Cancer and heart trouble, diabetes, severe infections, and many more. Our personal demons are our unmet needs, our unhealed memories. I must never expect from any person in friendship or in romance what he or she cannot give or do. I must never expect from any person in friendship or in romance what he or she will not give or do. Invest our time, our energy, our passion in what we enjoy, in what we do well, in what is good for people and for our Mother Earth, and what no one else here is doing in our own special, unique way. Many jobs, most jobs in this society harm more than help. Harm people or the earth or both more than help. In the Vietnam War, The United States used white phosphorus, napalm, chemical agents on the Vietnamese people and their land where they grew their food for almost 10 years. The United States sprayed Agent Orange, poison, 19 million gallons of Agent Orange poison on over 3,000 villages in Vietnam, causing awful sickness and birth defects in many Vietnamese people. And this Agent Orange poison also caused awful sickness and birth defects for U.S. soldiers and their children. The U.S. companies Monsanto, Dow, and Uniroyal made the deadly poison Agent Orange to sicken and to kill our sisters and brothers in Vietnam. And who with a conscience would want to work for any of those companies when they were making that murder poison for other human beings? I don't care how much you're paid. It's evil. Evil. Absolutely evil. The U.S. dropped 8 million tons of bombs on Vietnam. 8 million tons of bombs. 3 times all the bombs dropped by both sides in World War II. And then some people in this country think the U.S. is a peace-loving nation? What a bunch of bullshit. Evil bullshit. Filthy lies. The 8 million tons of bombs the U.S. dropped on Vietnam were equal to 640 of the atom bombs the atom bomb the U.S. dropped on Hiroshima. 3 to 5 million people, most of them not soldiers, 3 to 5 million people, most of them civilians, the U.S. murdered in Vietnam. Plus, many more people in Laos, Thailand, Cambodia. The U.S. government told U.S. soldiers, shoot anything that moves. Talk about a street gang. Talk about a gang of bank robbers or the mafia. The U.S. government celebrated the high numbers of Vietnamese people that the U.S. soldiers murdered. And now from the book, The Golden Fountain, The Complete Guide to Urine Therapy by Cohen van der Kroon of the Netherlands. 2 powerful testimonies about urine therapy, drinking one's own urine for health. I have drunk my piss every day, not all of it, but now about 2 cups in the morning as I exercise, after I get up at home. I've drunk my piss every day since November 10th, 1999. So over 21 years. And here are these 2 powerful testimonies, and there are many, many more in this book, but here are just 2. A Dr. Shah, who was a renowned doctor in Bombay, India, said, I'm a gynecologist. I started taking an interest in urine therapy after 6 years of clinical experience. I was astonished by the results of this therapy on several diseases which allopathic science, in other words, mainstream medicine, cannot treat, let alone cure. Within 2 years, I have treated the following diseases with a combination of urine therapy and dietary changes with astonishingly good results. Herpes genital, prostatic enlargement of the prostate gland, multiple kidney stones, hypothyroidism, chronic sinusitis, allergies, dermatitis, and many more. This gynecologist doctor says research conducted in many countries has proven the nutritional value of urine due to high levels of proteins, hormones, minerals, vitamins, and other valuable substances. These are easily assimilated and recycled by the body without any loss of energy. Urine contains immunologically active substances which fight viral and bacterial infections and boost the immunological potential even if one is immunologically weak, as is the case with AIDS, cancer, or any debilitating illness. This doctor says urine is a powerful cleansing agent which detoxifies and eliminates all poisonous elements. Urine therapy combined with a fast and or a diet of raw fruits and vegetables greatly helps eliminate these toxic substances from the body within a few weeks. Urine has an anti-cancer activity. Many substances have been isolated from urine, which have been scientifically proven to be effective in preventing and reducing the growth of cancer. Do you wonder why most people in this country know nothing or very little about urine therapy? The massive pharmaceutical companies have studied urine a lot, and they extract from urine or make a chemical likeness for high-priced drugs to treat infertility, to treat cancer, and so on. Whereas it's far better and totally free for people to drink their own urine instead of buying those damn pharmacy drugs and making those drug pushers filthy rich. Many testimonies in here, but one from a woman from Australia. She said, in 1988, I myself had cancer in the bowel, liver, and lymph system. For the cancer in the bowel, I had 3 operations within 3 months, after which I was only skin and bone. For the liver and lymph glands, I was offered chemotherapy, which I declined. All the anesthetics, antibiotics, and post-operative drugs had weakened the immune system to rock bottom. And because of this, she says, I had already started to lose great bunches of hair. I was given by a friend a Water of Life book. This is a book about urine therapy written by a man in England. The title, The Water of Life, I have that book, which in medical terms is urine therapy, written by J.W. Armstrong. I decided not to tell my doctor or anyone until I felt totally healed. I did not want any discouragement or negative influence. I kept up with meditation and relaxation, my usual wheatgrass juice, mixed with lettuce juice to make it more palatable, more tasty, and other veggie juices. Plenty of salads and greens, no meat, no cooked foods, no dairy products, oils, or fats for 3 months to heal the liver. Daily rubbings of my whole body, including hair and scalp, with urine. The skin is an absorbing organ for the lymph glands. I would do this in the afternoon and shower the next morning. I also drank my own water of life, her urine, in between meals, early morning, during the night, up to 7 glasses per day. 9 months later, now notice this didn't happen overnight, didn't happen in 2 weeks, but 9 months later, I went to the doctor looking and feeling well, which was a great surprise to the doctor. He thought I'd already died. A blood test showed no remaining trace of cancer anymore. I highly recommend this book, Complete Guide to Urine Therapy, The Golden Fountain, by Cohen van der Kroon of the Netherlands. And as I said, I have drunk my own urine every day, since November 10th, 1999. I now drink about 2 cups every morning as I exercise at home. Here is most of a poem by Krama Rodriguez entitled Hugs. It's wonderful what a hug can do. A hug can cheer you when you're blue. A hug can say, I love you so, or, gee, I hate to see you go. A hug is, welcome back again, and great to see you, or, where you've been. A hug can soothe a child's pain and bring a rainbow after the rain. A hug, there's just no doubt about it. We scarcely could survive without it. A hug delights and warms and charms. Hugs are great for fathers and mothers, sweet for sisters, swell for brothers. And chances are some favored aunts love them more than potted plants. Kittens crave them. Puppies love them. Heads of state are not above them. A hug can break the language barrier and make the dullest day seem brighter. No need to fret about the store for 'em. The more you give, the more there are of 'em. So stretch those arms without delay and give someone a hug today. I love to hug men and women who enjoy hugging. Hugs can lower the stress hormone cortisol. Hugs can strengthen our immune system to keep us from getting sick. Hugs can help lower blood pressure and heart rate when you're under stress. I love to hug men and women who enjoy hugging. Going to sleep 1 hour or more earlier than you usually do, and then getting up 1 hour or more earlier can help prevent major depression. early to bed, early to rise, makes a person healthy and wise. Every culture on earth is a mix of kindness and cruelty. Every culture on earth is a mix of wisdom and stupidity. Every culture on earth is a mix of insight and insanity. And I aim to learn from and adopt the best from every culture I have contact with, from every person, and reject the crap, reject the cruelty, the stupidity, the insanity. A constant sorting out in every culture, in every person, and in my own life and heart. My favorite quote from Albert Einstein, he said, "More and more I have come to value charity and love of others above everything else." He said, "Our lauded technological progress, our very civilization, is like an axe in the hand of a pathological criminal." And as we look around us in our city, our state, our country, our world, and see how the climate crisis is a tightening noose on modern civilization. This is a horrific reality that most people don't seem to really get. When will most people say, "I have to change my ways"? It's not enough to read about it, see it on TV, the climate crisis. It's not enough to think, well, the big shots with all the technology and the president, they're going to solve it. Hell no. We have to change our ways now, if we give a damn, for future generations, or even for the rest of what will be our lives. Do most college graduates live more wisely than minimum wage workers who never went to high school? Do most college graduates travel less, pollute less, consume less, cause less climate chaos than people who never went to high school? Do most college graduates live more simply, live more healthy, more fairly in our world family of over 7 billion people? Do most college graduates take strong public stands against U.S. greed, against U.S. wars? Do most college graduates take jobs that help more than harm? Do most college graduates pay less federal income tax for war than minimum wage workers who never went to high school? When Gandhi was asked what worried him most, Gandhi said, "The hardness of heart of the educated." Hundreds of highly educated scientists at Sandia and Los Alamos National Labs spend decades designing atomic weapons of mass murder of whole cities of people. As long as the main motive for many students to get a college degree is to get much more money than anyone needs, to get big power, to get worldly prestige, higher education is no sure path to a better world of fairness and compassion for all people. Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." He said, "My life is my message." I, Don Schrader, was a college dropout. I got good grades, but I got tired of meeting deadlines of so many pages to read and so many pages to write. I love to learn, but what I want to learn, when I want to learn it, how I want to learn it, and not just sitting in a classroom. I was a college dropout, but in the university of life, I constantly collect wisdom from everybody I meet, from hundreds of articles and books and radio programs on how to live and how not to live. I collect wisdom not just to store it in my brain, but to live it, to live that wisdom as best I can. See the interview with me from April 2017 that tells a lot about my life on humansofnewmexico.com, humansofnewmexico.com, April 2017 interview with me. A man beaten horribly as a kid by his alcoholic father learned to endure those beatings with not even a whimper. Why? He did not want to give his dad the satisfaction of seeing his pain. And as a grown man now, this man is not able to show any sign of pain or sorrow. Many people think he's cold, but he said they have no idea what goes on inside him. He learned so well, so awfully well, how to hide his pain as a kid beaten by a drunk dad, that now as an adult it's all locked inside and people think he has no feelings, he's cold. Adults cannot beat kids into being good. Hitting kids beats evil deeper into them. Spanking teaches kids, make people obey you out of fear and pain. What an awful lesson. Make people obey you out of fear and pain. And sadly, many of those beaten kids end up beating their spouses or their kids until somebody, as time goes on, says, this is not the way to bring up any child, and they stop it. Spanking teaches kids, hit those you love when you're angry. Spanking teaches kids not to respect their own bodies and other people's bodies. And many kids, beaten, later abuse their own bodies with booze, cigarettes, other drugs, junk food, sweets, and suffer for it. Many kids, beaten, grow up to abuse other bodies, other people, in family violence, in street gangs, and in the worst gang of all, as soldiers waging war. If Jesus of Nazareth actually lived, and if the writers of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John accurately told Jesus' teachings, and if the people who copied and translated the original writings in the following centuries made no important mistakes, no important changes, sadly, what Jesus taught about never-ending torture with no pardon and no parole after death for evildoers who do not repent, sadly, what Jesus taught on that was worse than the Bible verses saying that God commanded the invading Israelites to mass murder every man, woman, and child of the peoples in Palestine many hundreds of years ago. Jesus, according to what the Bible says, Jesus told us sinful humans to love and to do good to our enemies, no exceptions. But God, the source of love, sentences God's enemies to never-ending torture with no pardon, no parole, ever. Jesus told us, sinful human beings, to forgive 70 times 7. In other words, stop keeping track of how many times you forgive somebody for what they did you wrong. But God will not forgive? Would any loving human parent lock the door forever against any son, any daughter, no matter what evil they did? In the 1970s, when my parents were still both living, I spent part of my time with them in Illinois and part of my time here in Albuquerque. I drove trucks in my parents' cattle and hog business. I looked forward to drinking coffee at truck stops there. I really looked forward to those truck stops. And I drank coffee some nights here at a restaurant on Central. I was addicted to coffee, but I have drunk no coffee for many, many years. Commercial coffee can have over 150 chemicals, poison pesticides from growing the coffee, stabilizers, fresheners, color enhancers, artificial aroma enhancers. I do not recommend coffee, period. But if you drink coffee, drink only organic coffee from freshly ground organic coffee beans. If you drink coffee and you care about your health, drink only organic coffee from freshly ground coffee beans, because the oils in the coffee bean can quickly go rancid if they're sitting around ground up. Too much coffee can cause headaches, nervousness. Too much coffee can cause swellings and lumps and tenderness in women's breasts. Too much coffee can cause indigestion, high blood pressure. Too much coffee can cause mammary and bladder cancer in women. Too much coffee can cause increased risk of birth defects and miscarriages. Too much coffee can cause higher bad cholesterol, pancreatic cancer. Too much coffee can cause heart attack, severe sleep problems, moodiness, anxiety, loss of calcium, loss of potassium and other minerals. Now, stopping coffee completely all at once, if you've been drinking it for years, can cause headaches, constipation, drowsiness. So, if you're serious about your health and you want to get off coffee, stop gradually. If you're used to 5 cups a day, go to, in a few days, 4 cups a day, and then gradually decrease. Less and less until you have stopped completely. And also, coffee from large plantations in Latin America profit the filthy rich landowners, while many poor people in Latin America go hungry and the soil is depleted and poisoned from the coffee growing. Land that could be used by the poor people to grow their own healthy food if the filthy rich landowners didn't have that land and hadn't poisoned that land in growing commercial coffee. So instead of coffee, I recommend organic green tea. Organic green tea. It has some caffeine, so it has some of that pickup that we like from coffee, but not as much caffeine as coffee. Organic green tea helps asthma, colds, bronchitis. Organic green tea helps digestion, the heart, and our blood circulation. Organic green tea helps treat or prevent cancer. Organic green tea lowers our blood pressure if our blood pressure is too high. It lowers high blood cholesterol. Organic green tea stabilizes our blood sugar. Organic green tea is one of the 18 ingredients of my smoothies. And I, most days, eat 3 quarts of smoothies a day, not all at once, but through the day. 18 ingredients, and organic green tea is one of those ingredients. If we give a damn about the climate crisis and about saving water and about water pollution, if we give a damn about saving forests, if we give a damn about cruelty to animals and about all the hungry people worldwide having enough to eat, if we give a damn about our own health, stop eating all meat, all dairy, cheese, milk, ice cream, eggs. As bad as using cars and planes, eating meat and dairy is one huge cause of climate chaos. Far more people can be fed from the same amount of farmland, growing grain and seeds and beans and nuts and greens and vegetables and fruit for the people to eat directly, raw plant foods. Far more people can be fed from the same amount of farmland growing those plant foods than by growing crops to feed cows and pigs and chickens, and then people eating those animals. But sadly, at least some years ago, and I don't know if it's changed, the Sierra Club, Greenpeace, and most U.S. environmental groups refuse to say all of this because they fear turning off many supporters, not getting donations from their supporters who eat meat and dairy. Watch the powerful documentary, Cowspiracy. It's one word, Cowspiracy, Cowspiracy, on Netflix or on DVD. I have that DVD, and if you want to borrow it from me, let me know, or request it through the library. My parents ran a cattle and hog business in Illinois, where I grew up, and I worked in that cruel business for years. And that's one of the things, many things in my life I would like to change if I had my life to live over, knowing what I know now. I participated in that damn cruelty to animals. I stopped eating all meat and all dairy many years ago. We can wake up. We can change. We have much to learn from other cultures. The Babemba tribe of southern Africa live as a closely connected family. When someone wrongs another person, the offender is placed in the center of the village, alone, not chained, and everybody stops working in the tribe. And all people gather around this person, the offender, who has wronged someone. And then each person of all ages, from kids to old people, one at a time, tells all the good things that the person in the center, this offender, ever did in his or her lifetime. Every experience remembered in detail, with accuracy. All good deeds, all strengths, all kindnesses told carefully and at length, just the truth. No lies, no exaggerations. And this tribal ceremony can last several days, not stopping until everyone tells all the good things remembered about the offender. And then a joyous fiesta takes place, and the person in the center, this offender, is welcomed back into the tribe. These ceremonies are rarely needed. Instead of shaming and branding the offender as a hopeless, no-good criminal, the tribe spends days making this person their main concern to heal and restore him or her. Because we all are far more than the worst thing we ever did or almost did. The tribe concentrates on the good in this person, and this is infinitely better than most of the U.S. court and prison system. Good night.
Live every day as if it were the last, because before you know it, time goes past and life's just not that long. Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone. Taste the wind, don't let it blow Sing songs